Hello and welcome to CDO Magazine interview series. I am Kristopher Moniz with Centric Consulting. Today I have the pleasure of talking with Wendy Gilbert. She's the Director of Data Services at ARC, the Airlines Reporting Corporation. Do me a favor, tell me a little bit about yourself, Wendy, and overall your role at ARC.
Thank you for the introduction, Chris. Great to be here with you today. Just a quick kickoff with ARC and what we are and the company. We are a relatively small company, about 350 employees spread around the US. We provide data settlement, distribution, and financial services to the air travel industry. So our core business is facilitating transactions between travel agencies and airlines, which puts us in a fun and unique position in that we have built a global data set that has 68% of global air travel within it through the data we collect and partnerships within the industry. So I'm a big traveler, very avid traveler. It's really nice to be in the travel business and being able to work with all of this wonderful data. So for my background, as you mentioned, I'm Director of Data Services. I've been at ARC for a little over a year and a half now. I think I celebrated my year and a half last week. I live in Claremont, Florida, hence the background here. I moved down to Claremont about a year and a half ago, right as I came in with ARC, and I relocated from Seattle, so the opposite end of the country, where I was with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and then with Expedia before that. So I've been in data management for more than 20 years at this point in time. And my role today at ARC, I manage both the data engineers at ARC and represent business technology across our different data products.
Sounds like an interesting gig.
Yeah.
Well, I think we are here today to talk largely about overall data strategy and its uses. So probably with that in mind, let's start off with, can you give me your perspective on data strategy and its just overall relationship to helping your company achieve business value?
Well, and with ARC, I can start, I think, in general too, with data strategies overall, where I've been with, I mentioned, in data for over 20 years. What always strikes me as interesting is how different data strategies are for different companies, different industries, and the size of the industry. I've worked in retail and healthcare, banking, hospitality, and for big companies and small companies. And that data strategy is so drastically different in every company that I've been in because what you're trying to do with your data is so different. Some organizations that I've worked in use their data primarily internally, so thinking to be able to support the business and what the business is doing. Some use it both internally and externally to build out data products, to build front ends and personalization for their systems. ARC is in that latter position, and that we are both. We have a big data proponent internally, where we have need to support the business, support the decisions that are being done by our executive team and people on the ground. But then we also have a big customer offering for data products. And so for such a small company of 350 employees, 348, I think, we have a very large data footprint because of our data products. And so our data strategy is very heavily driven by both. So what is it that our customers want? What do we need to deliver to our customers? As well as what's the data needed by our teams and our company to drive decisions. Our data strategy, to your point too, on how we look at it, it's very much driven by company strategy. So ARC's been doing quite a bit of work on what is our future strategy. We have a 3-year strategy. We keep that regularly updated, and that drives our data strategy. What's the company trying to achieve? What is the data we need to do to support where the company wants to go? And then how do we break that down and make it happen?
It sounds pretty complex, especially the fact that it's both internal data consumption and external data consumption, which kind of comes with different profiles from a security perspective, customer profiles, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Which I think actually dovetails pretty well into another question that I wanted to ask. So, because I mean, general data is large, it covers a multitude of things between what's in the news right now, all over the place, AI, and what we used to talk about in the broad scheme of AI, data science, and that sort of thing, to just general analytics and the insights you can get from it. But in terms of building your data strategy, what's your perspective on how you have to build it so it can get into those intricacies, the differences between, performance management versus internal financial reporting versus external reporting and the security implications that come with that. So collectively, just sort of the art of the possible. How do you view that within a data strategy?
I think it's especially in this new era of generative AI being such the with getting so much focus,
Mhm.
the art of the possible has become even more important for us to recognize. But it goes to your point too. There's fundamentals that we have to have as a data team to be able to support the company and more traditional BI and AI. And then there's the art of the possible. What are the things that we could do with the data that we might not have thought about? And that's where, so our data strategy, our business strategy is still very focused on what's the company trying to accomplish and how can we use data and AI to accomplish that. But the art of the possible comes in of how does your business decide what it might want to do if it doesn't know what's possible. And
Mhm.
so being able, especially with AI moving so quickly now and so many options out there. So it's not an easy answer for us. It's being able to make sure that the people that are designing our products, working with our customers to figure out what to do, are educated on what the market offering is when it comes to the art of the possible and how they might be able to use the data. What we don't want is for people to start building products that are built on AI just for the sake of AI or for the new technologies,
Mhm.
but making sure that it's grounded. But you need to know what's possible with AI before you can decide whether you need that for your business.
With that in mind, actually, and generative AI, Chat GPT, and it seems these days every time you turn around, there's another new large language model that's coming out of the woodwork. So, first, Mark, if you're familiar with it, every year they publish this, ML AI and data, what they call their MAD landscape. It's basically what I frequently see referred to as a NASCAR slide, right? It's the every logo you can think of that has something to do with a certain area, and they're trying to just represent all of the tools and systems in the space. And it's gone from when they did it in 2012, 139 data elements to last year, they released it for last year, over 1,400.
Mhm.
And I can only imagine how many of those are going to be on it next year that are different LLM models and everything else. And that kind of creates this very complex ecosystem that you have to navigate when you're trying to figure out a strategy for your company. So,
Mhm.
how do you generally approach it, and how would you recommend others approach trying to weed through all that noise of just
Mhm.
thousands of different tools that are out there on display and pick the right suite of tools to satisfy your business needs?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's not easy, as you know this in your role as well. That
Mhm.
there's a huge amount of information out there. That mad landscape, I believe there were over 500 companies added to that landscape just between last year and this year.
Mhm.
So the numbers are increasing at exponential rates at this point in time. It's
Mhm.
almost impossible for us to know which companies are offering which products and how we might be able to utilize them. Matt also mentions that we need to be careful because with this proliferation of companies, they won't all be around in a few years because
Mhm.
that massive growth, they're not all going to last. So how do we make sure that we're not investing in solutions that won't stand the test of time and be around? So that there's no easy way to do that. It's just diligence on the company. uh, some of the ways that we are working as far as how we're exploring AI opportunities at ARC is we have existing vendors with existing products that we currently use that are adding AI to their offering. And so we've had several conversations with those companies to better understand what it is that they're offering, what capabilities are they adding, and
Mhm.
then using that to educate our team on what's the art of the possible.
Mhm.
Also, just the AI summits and education and training around trying to be more familiar with what's available out there. And then it's back to the point on application. To just because it sounds interesting doesn't mean we have a use case for it.
Mhm. I hear that. Yeah, and it's interesting to hear you kind of talk through the you've got existing tool sets and existing vendors, and they're adding AI. You know, this situation reminds me, and you've obviously been in the industry a long time, so you were here for what I'm about to describe. Uh, there was a similar NASCAR slide that you would have seen about 8 or 9 years ago around the world of big data when
Yep.
Hadoop was blowing up, and just tools came out of the woodwork. And you look backwards now and you go, okay, so Spark, mm, Parquet files, and maybe, I know I'm forgetting one. There's about three major technologies that came out of the Hadoop era that have actually stood the test of time and really gone on to be built into modern technologies we use today, like Delta Lake and those sorts of things. But there was 1,000 of them, not even 10 years ago. So, how have you worked to help your companies and your clients work through the idea of a hype cycle is always at play? And how do I kind of weed out the, well, sounds interesting, but is that going to stand the test of time? Like you said, are they going to be here in 5 years?
Right. And it's very similar. It's interesting too. The Matt article talks
Mhm.
about how this isn't our first AI hype cycle either. And we all know that. We've been working with the AI space for a long time. The same thing for big data, the data science, where it's always we watch what happens. And some of that is vendor proliferation that drives what we read about and what we talk
Mhm.
about as an industry. Doesn't mean it's not interesting and useful, but I remember I was a consultant for a few years myself, and at one point in time went and met with one of our clients, and their top three company priority was big data. And we were like, that's not a company priority. It's a means to an end to meet a company priority. And you see some of that happening with AI today and the generative AI, especially because it's fun, it's interesting, it's
Mhm.
exciting. We all want, myself included, we all want to be part of this.
Mhm.
We all have that fear of missing out. But similar with traditional AI, I actually did my master's degree 20 years ago and focused. I did my master's thesis in neural networks and artificial intelligence. But a bit before my time, it wasn't quite as well known in the industry, and finding a job afterwards was harder. But
Mhm.
also, I had to write the code myself because the tools didn't exist. So
Mhm.
we went through that hype cycle after that as well, where now that traditional AI is everywhere. It's in all of our products. We all use it on a daily basis. Generative AI is it's fascinating, and how
Mhm.
quickly it's grown has been interesting. But the use cases still have to be explored.
Yeah.
I'm lucky at ARC. We have our leadership is looking to us to help them understand how we might use it. We've put together an AI council, an AI innovation council, and then also a governance council to make sure that, especially with generative AI and the large language models, that you are being very careful with how you're using your data.
Mhm.
And especially for us in a B2B world, business to business world, that we have that added onus of protecting our customers' data. But yes, the hype cycle is real, and I'm excited about it. I use Chat GPT on a regular basis for
Mhm.
things, just ideation and thoughts. We just have to be careful.
Yeah. Definitely. And it's funny, the reference you made to, you're talking to a client and they went, one of our goals is number
Mhm.
three, big data. We're going to go there. We see that a lot. And when we have strategy conversations with people, much like you described, right? It's, you got to get to the why. Well,
Right.
okay, that's a means. What are you trying to accomplish? And, you know, we, we at least frequently find that getting to that is almost as much about people and process as it is about
Mhm.
tech, right? It's about, what are you doing with it? What process are you looking to improve? Well, what group of people are you looking to empower to what end? And it's very infrequently about the actual tech. The tech just becomes a means to an end. So, is that a statement you generally would agree with, or, and if so, why?
I think it's always been true, and I think it's what's kind of gotten us through all of these hype cycles. Is the bottom line is the same for most of this, and there is a huge focus on people and processes. People in particular, without people, we wouldn't have our products. We wouldn't have our
Mhm.
need for our products. So I think absolutely there's a huge amount of people and process that plays into this.
Mhm.
The decisions your organization makes around data and technology, those decisions are made by people. And I
Mhm.
fully agree. We enable them with the technology. but the technology is not the hard part. I hesitate to say that out loud, but it's not. It's the figuring out what you're going to do with that technology that's the hard part. One in that people and process too, that when it comes to data strategy, one thing you hear a lot is I don't know what the customers want.
Mhm.
I don't know how to build it because I don't know what the customers want. And that obviously is not technology related. That is about people and processes and understanding the need.
Mhm.
I was at a CIO conference a few years ago. I'm not sure why I got invited. I'm not a CIO, but I attended and it was really fun.
Mhm.
And one of the CIOs there had actually asked, he was complaining in one of the sessions, or maybe remarking more so than complaining, that his business users didn't know what they wanted.
Mhm.
And I was a director of product management for one of Expedia's data platforms at the time. And it's like, wait, I know how to help you solve that, because
Mhm.
it's all about product management. Product management works with people to figure out what it is that we need to build and how we need to execute on that.
Mhm.
And we at ARC have a very strong product management team that helps us work through those things. So, what is it that the customers want? How do we use technology to enable that? And then that drives our data strategy.
Well, thank you. This has been a fun conversation. It's been nice getting inside your brain a bit and understanding your perspective on data strategy. Uh, for everybody listening, thank you very much. Thank you, Wendy, for joining me. And as always, please visit us at cdomagazine.tech for any additional interviews.
Awesome. Thank you.